Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, and today we're going to be looking at the multiple paths of victory for both candidates in 2024. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe for more content just like this, and go to the description down below to the GoFundMe page to help fund SoCal Research's national and state polls. We are going to be jointly sponsoring polls from now on with Ready Go Politics, so any support would be greatly appreciated. And now looking at the electoral college map, we have filled in all the states that more than likely will go to either candidate by a pretty decent, odds. This is kind of the same battleground map as 2020. And, I was historically known for predicting a Trump landslide against Biden, which I feel like would have been correct because Joe Biden dropped out of the race. And it wasn't because he was old. It wasn't because of any of that. It was because he knew he couldn't win. And the Democrats knew he could not win, and governors were scared he was going to lose New Mexico, Minnesota, Virginia, New Hampshire, and Maine as well. So this just kind of proves my whole point of Trump beating Biden pretty badly in the Electoral College. But now looking at some of these results here, Harris has picked up from Biden in the national aggregate. A lot of it is inflated polling, but I have things to account for that, and she kind of has gained a bit, at least in the main swing states and some of these deep blue states. She's kind of taken these back to the point where I can't really see Trump getting any of these. I mean, it's possible he could get Minnesota or New Hampshire, but as for the other states, I think those are going to be really far out of reach for him as of right now. Things could change, but this is sort of, the states that I could say, well, maybe they go either way at this point. And the Rust Belt is interesting because I think that Harris is going to be one of the worst candidates for white working class voters that used to vote ancestrally Democrat and voted for Obama and then switched to Trump. I think a lot of those voters are going to basically defect from the Democrats and go to Trump by pretty heavy amounts. But suburban voters are going to definitely kind of skew to the left with Harris on the ticket. And so that's definitely going to influence the results in the Rust Belt. Now, what's very interesting is that Harris's appeal in a state like Georgia mainly comes from Atlanta, but that is not a guarantee per se. Her favorable spread against Trump is a lot better than it was for Biden against Trump. Like, Trump was ahead of Biden by a decent amount in favorability on civics. Harris is actually leading or tied, in favorability with Trump in Georgia, so it is a little bit of a difference. But I still believe that Donald Trump more than likely does win the state of Georgia. Right now, this is a state where he's never gotten below 49% ever, and I expect him to perform better in some of these rural counties, in the state of Georgia, and I think he's going to pick up in some of the suburban exurbs outside. So it may be close, it may be, within, 2 to 4 points, but I think he is going to win the state of Georgia by at least 2 to 3 right now. And North Carolina is a state that he's literally won twice. He won it by 3.7 in 2016, and then in 2020 he won it by 1.3%. I think he's going to end up winning this state again. I think he's going to improve in it. Right now, I actually have him winning it anywhere by 4 to 6 points. So that is really more in a safe column per se. Now, looking at all the other states, that already puts Donald Trump at 251 electoral college votes. Now, Nebraska second is a little bit of an interesting, electoral vote because this district did vote for Trump in 2016 and then voted for Biden in 2020 by a pretty decent amount. It was an 8-point shift, so it trended like 4 points to the left. Now, the thing about this district is it was just redrawn recently to be more favorable to Republicans. And yes, even though the district is trending left off a cliff, it is possible that the former president could actually end up picking up the district depending on how the scenario goes, but I still think Harris may win it by a point or two as of right now. Maybe Trump does pick up Nebraska second, which would give him a slight extra, electoral vote. But let's say it goes to Harris. His easiest path is Pennsylvania, because if he wins Georgia, Pennsylvania, he flips these two back from 2020, he gets 270. This is his simplest path to the Electoral College. For Harris, her simplest path, believe it or not, is actually through the Rust Belt. Now, that also gets her exactly to 270 electoral votes. And we clearly see here that Biden technically won the election through the Rust Belt, and Trump did in 2016 as well. If Trump had won all of the Rust Belt states in 2020, it wouldn't have mattered what happened in Nevada, Arizona, or Georgia. He would have ended up flipping the Rust Belt, and that would have given Trump the presidency alone. And so that is definitely something interesting to point out. And once again, if Harris wins the entire Rust Belt, she gets exactly to 270. If Trump picks up the entire Rust Belt, he gets to 279 electoral college votes. So that's also something interesting to point out. So the Rust Belt's going to be very critical in the path to victory for either candidate. Now, if Trump has Georgia, this becomes a lot easier because Michigan and Nevada, that gets Trump to that margin of over 270. Arizona and Michigan. You could do Wisconsin, and Arizona. You could do, Nevada. You could do Nevada, Pennsylvania. That gets Trump to 286. If you have this here, he's at 267. So like Arizona and Nevada and Wisconsin, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Michigan would get Trump over the top. You'd have, Pennsylvania. That gets him to 286. Even without Georgia or North Carolina in this scenario, he would actually get to 270. More than likely, Georgia would be the one to defect, and he actually still gets to 270 in the Electoral College here. That would have not been possible in the 2020 map, as the census hadn't given the proper votes for Republicans to have gotten this margin with Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. So that is definitely more interesting as well. We also have, you could also do, Arizona and Nevada. That gets Trump to 268. Another map could be winning Nebraska second. That gets Trump to 269 electoral votes just right out the gate, just like that. And he would more than likely win through the House of Representatives. And, he could pick up the Rust Belt, one Rust Belt state to kind of help him ensure that he wins the Electoral College per se. It would just be a little bit of a nice cushion to have. Now, for Harris, her realistic paths are the Rust Belt. She's going to have to win through the Rust Belt and through Nebraska second. These are states that have historically gone Democrat for years. Arizona really isn't the case, and Nevada is slowly trending to the right, so you could technically see a map where maybe it's Nevada and the Rust Belt, but I think that's not very likely. Now, even if we go, for example, if Arizona and Georgia go blue, again, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, she'd have to win one. North Carolina would get her over the top, but I don't really think that that's actually going to win her the election. I seriously cannot see her picking up North Carolina. The state's not really trending anywhere by that much, and I think Donald Trump's going to improve, and the nationwide popular vote, I think, is going to shift at least a point Republican. And so that's why I really can't see North Carolina going to Harris. That's why I really haven't included it in any of her paths to victory. Now, from here, Wisconsin would get her to 269. Michigan would get her to the proper margin. Pennsylvania would also get her to the proper state to win the Electoral College. Now, if she loses Georgia, it wouldn't be enough. If she loses Pennsylvania, that definitely wouldn't be enough either. I could see this being a map where all the swing states go to Trump except Arizona or even possibly Nevada. This could happen too. This almost happened in 2020. For a long time in the night, the Rust Belt was pretty red, and Arizona and Nevada did not look good for Trump. So that is something to also keep in mind. But I do think Nevada is going to vote to the right of the nation by about 4 or 5 points. So if Trump's winning the popular vote, he's more than likely going to win the state of Nevada, in my opinion. You had the Reid machine there that was kind of helping turn out Democrats quite a bit, and that didn't really work out for them. And in 2022, they actually kicked out their incumbent Democratic governor despite other Republicans underperforming in other states. So I have a good feeling about Nevada and Georgia. And that, if you really have that, Trump could win through Michigan. Trump could win through, Pennsylvania. Those would be the two places where he'd really be able to win. Now, Harris's really only paths to victory are Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and the Rust Belt. This could be it, or it would be, the 270 to 268 scenario. So out of all these combinations, I can really only see two for Harris, to be honest. Maybe Nevada is the pathway, which that wouldn't really even win her the presidency. That Nevada wouldn't win her the map. She'd have to win it through Wisconsin or Arizona. She could really pick or choose, or this is a little bit unconventional, but a lot of people have proposed this map, which I think is kind of weird because, honestly, if Harris is winning Georgia, More than likely, Nevada, Arizona, and Wisconsin will probably go blue. I mean, maybe Nevada goes red, but if she's winning Georgia, I'd expect Wisconsin and Arizona at the minimum to end up going to her as well. You know, the state trends wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense if this went all blue, but not Wisconsin or Arizona, because the white population, you know, in the suburbs is mainly responsible for Biden winning it, not so much the African American turnout. And so that's kind of what we're looking at there. And we clearly see in a place like Wisconsin that gets to 270 pretty much. Arizona would also get there. But Trump has a lot more pass than Harris, which isn't a good thing because, you know, the candidate who usually has more pass to the White House tends to be the candidate who ends up winning. Right now, I actually have all of the swing states going to the former president, and Nebraska second going to Harris as of right now in my official forecast. So that is it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit the like button to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video.